West Fargo Public Schools announced boundary changes for the district, and that change can be stressful for kids and families. We have Dr. Rachel Agree, Elementary Assistant Superintendent, here with Dawn Miller, the Social Emotional Learning Coordinator. Welcome to the show. So I just have first question is really what prompted the boundary changes in West Fargo?
Sure. So we always have a lot of boundary changes in West Fargo, unfortunately, with our just continued rapid enrollment and growth. This year, however, we were caught a little bit surprised by the fact that we typically have been growing about 400 to 450 students a year, which is a really big growth impact in North Dakota. This last school year, we grew by 650. So we were forced to make a decision sooner than later to shift some boundaries around to make sure we can keep class sizes down and really fit all of our students in a safe learning environment.
Currently, right now, what is that class size average?
We try to keep our primaries, grades K through 2, around that 22 or less, and our intermediates, grades 3 through 5, in that 24, 25 as a target.
Now, with these boundary changes, are you going to be able to hit that mark, or the class size is going to be down just a little bit?
Our hope is really that across the board, of course, that's an average, that we still can keep within that average, but we know that in West Fargo, we really value those neighborhood schools, which is why we have the boundary changes, that students aren't born that year in that right layout, that we might have some classrooms of 18, 19, and we might have another classroom across town of 25 and 26, but we hope to stay within those ranges with our new boundary changes.
Well, there's a lot of school pride that comes with every school. So how is it they're working with parents to make them comfortable with the change if their student has to go to a different school?
I'll start with that one, then I'll hand it off to Dawn. We know that school pride is really big, and we've really been talking about, thinking that we are all part of the West Fargo community and West Fargo schools. And then secondary to that, you would, be a bear, or you would get to be a Cheyenne Mustang, or whatever that looks like, that we are a strong community. But we know that that is hard for our families when they're trying to build that pride from the first day of kindergarten. Dawn?
Yeah, and I think this is a really great opportunity to kind of share with parents even a little bit more about ways to support their kids, because change can be hard, especially kind of coming off a couple of years of uncertainty, but getting back into more of a normal routine somewhat. So, I think just listening and communicating with kids is so important. So there's been many opportunities to do that within the schools, and I know parents have been kind of reaching out and asking what can we do to make this transition go smoothly for their kids. So just trying to share those tips and tricks with parents as much as possible.
When it comes to students, especially at that young age, change could be a big deal to them, especially if they're going to a different school. They've got very comfortable with one particular teacher. Maybe their older sibling had a certain teacher. So how is it that you are acclimating the children to the new change?
I would say that I've seen really great evidences of this spring since the decision was made, that our classroom teachers, our counselors, our administrators, they identified these kids that are going to be moving next year in their families, and they're really working with them to have those conversations about making a positive change and what that will look like, and really thinking about as they grow and mature and they are in middle school, likely the friends that they may have made in their early elementary years, they may end up in middle school and high school, and they're expanding their opportunities to make more friendships and really having those one-on-ones with our kids who maybe have a high level of anxiety about the change. Additionally, at our elementary level, we're planning some open houses into the spring where there'll be an opportunity to come in and to see that building and possibly meet some teachers. I know that already happened at Heritage Middle School with the boundary change happening on the south side, and we were able to be present that night, and the parents themselves even said it just felt really good to be here, to see it, to know what it is we're anticipating, and to feel welcomed.
Well, thank you both for coming on. I think it's a very important topic. Any changes that's happening in a student's life definitely needs to be addressed. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Well, coming up after the break, a preview of the Celtic Festival in Moorhead that's happening this weekend, celebrating Irish history, food, music, and so much more.